Hello, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. I hope that you really enjoyed my last video, and in today's video I'm going to help you how to make questions in English. I'm going to talk about important things, grammar rules, and also how things are in reality in spoken English. So if you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up and follow me if you're not a subscriber yet. Also follow me on my social media. I'm going to link all my Instagram and podcast links down below, so just make sure to check those out. But without further ado, let's go to our video. And today I kind of prepared a PowerPoint presentation because that's how I like to teach English. I don't see a lot of teachers out there doing this, so I kind of feel insecure, but it's my way of teaching. It's how I feel comfortable and how I think you would better understand. It's visualizing what I'm telling you instead of just looking at my face all the time. So let's go to our presentation. So how to make questions in English, and the one thing that I really want to talk about is intonation. When you are speaking English, I don't know if you noticed, but we give life to our sentences and to our words. You're not gonna sound like a robot, and you have ups and downs, low pitches and higher pitches as you're speaking, as you're talking. And when we're talking about questions in a specific, it's very important that you work on those waves, sound waves going up and down, up and down. And it also, depending on your intonation, gonna give like a different meaning to that phrase. So a common example is the word no. You can say no, meaning no. No, like, stop it. Or no, like, yeah, kinda, but no. So depending on intonation, you have different meanings to the same words. So you can say, how are you? And you can be very flat with your voice, or you can say, how are you? And then here, you know that is a question without even reading it, because you know, because of the sound, because how it sounds, because of my intonation. It's letting you know that it is a question. There are several things that gives you the impression of a question in a sentence. In this case, how are you? Not only my intonation, but the first word, how. So oftentimes when you're starting a phrase with the word how, it's a question. How to cook? How are you doing? How's the weather? How's New York? So every time, not every time, but most of the times when you start a sentence with the word how, it's a question. But more importantly is how you say the phrase. How are you? How are you? How are you? And here it gives you the impression that I'm happy, that I am really interested in knowing how are you. Or how old are you? 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 You see my intonation going up and down? How old are you? You. Like I go up with my voice. How old are you? You. How old are you? No. How old are you? How old are you? Intonation, very, very important. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Like, this person's not even interested in talking to me. She's very bored by me, or she's very annoyed that she has to talk to me. I don't know. But it doesn't give me a nice impression. It doesn't give me the feeling that she's invested into talking to me or interested in talking to me. But if she says, what's her name? Ooh, yes, she's very friendly. She likes me. She wants to talk to me. So I am more inclined into answering now. My name is Drielle. And here, you know that it's not a question, but an affirmation because of my intonation. Where are you from? Where are you from? From. So I cannot even help but going up. Where are you from? Yeah, I cannot. Where are you from? So usually the sentence starts like this and then it goes up. Where are you from? Where are you from? And then just a little before from, I go a little bit down and then I go up. Where are you from? Where are you from? So how old are you? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you? What's your name? What's your name? Where are you from? So use your intonation. Second thing to work on is to understand that we have some W and H questions. words that start with W or H that are used to make questions. The most common ones are how, so how are you, how old are you, how to cook, how's the weather, how's your mom. Then the second most common is the word what. What. It can be only a word question such as what, what, and depending on your intonation, you're giving a different meaning to that word. So if I say what, I'm very upset. What you're saying, it's untrue. It's you're bunkers. No. So this is not a good what. Or if I'm frustrated, what? Frustrated, right? Like you keep asking me things or you keep talking to me and I am just not there. I'm not interested in talking right now. I'm very stressed about something else. And I go, what? I can say, what? What? Like I'm very curious. I didn't hear what you said. I didn't quite understand what you said. So what? What? Or it can be in a sentence such as, what's your name? What's your name? What's your first language? What's your first language? Right? What's your husband's name? So what? It's very common. Then you have where, location. Where are you from? Where do you live? Where? And then you have W. So the pronunciation, you kind of close your mouth, like you close your mouth in the O sound, like ooh, and then you open. So what's, what, where, who, when. I think the only one different here is the word who. So speaking on who, we are going to use when we're referring to someone that we don't know that it's been talked about. So who's your mom? Who is she? Who's talking? Who? The person. Who? And then have more of an H sound than the W sound. Who? And then when, meaning in what time did this happen? When is your birthday? Or the date and time that something will happen, such as when is your birthday? When. So when is your birthday? You can practice and you can just make those questions. The W questions and the H questions, they're very, very common. So for example, Drielle, where are you from? What languages do you speak? Or which languages, which is better, do you speak? Not all the time, like not every time, W-A-H words are questions, such as, I don't know what I was doing there. I don't know what I was doing there. It's not a question, it's an affirmation. You can also know because I don't start with my phrase with the W word, and also my intonation is not a question intonation. But if you start a sentence with W or H words, most likely it would be questions. And then the most complicated part of all, it's the auxiliary verbs. They're very important because they give you more information about the sentence. So it lets you know if the sentence is in the present, if it's a negative or affirmative or a question sentence. It lets you know a lot of things. It gives you a lot of information. And you have different types of auxiliary verbs. You have the verb to be in all forms, such as present, am, is, and are in the past tense, were and was. And then you have the auxiliary verbs does and do, and the past tense did. Can, which is a modal verb actually, but can also be an auxiliary verb, modal verb. Could, will, would, have, and had. The problem is sometimes that those auxiliary verbs are also called action verbs because they express an action itself. So when is an auxiliary verb an auxiliary verb? When it helps you understand something. So auxiliary means that it's helping you to understand or to know something. When do you use each one of them? I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm just going to talk about mainly 2 or 3 of them. But the verb to be, you are going to use when you're expressing a feeling, a state. Oftentimes when express a feeling or a state is followed by an adjective, but if it's followed by a verb, it's a ongoing verb. So if I say I am working, am my auxiliary verb, and then working my verb in an ongoing ongoing action, ongoing form. You cannot say I am work. That's not correct. That's grammatically incorrect, and in spoken English, it's also incorrect. But let's talk about feelings and states when you're using adjectives, right? I am nervous. This is the positive sentence. I am nervous. It's a feeling, I'm having it right now. If I want to ask you if you are nervous, I am going to swap my auxiliary verb with my subject. So instead of being I am nervous, it's going to become are you nervous? But you cannot forget your intonation. Are you nervous? Yes. Are you nervous? I am hungry. It means that I want to eat, right? I'm hungry. I need food. I'm going to ask you if you are hungry. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? If we were talking about ongoing actions, such as I am working, I'm going to ask, are you working? Are you working? So that's one of the clues you have when to use verb to be. But now let's go to do and does. So do and does are also auxiliary verbs. They're more commonly used in negative and question sentences rather than positive sentences, and that's because when they are in positive sentences, they are emphasizing that information. It's kind of implied there. You don't see it, you don't have to use it, but if you want to emphasize an information, a phrase, you can use that in a positive sentence. So when you're going to use do and does, so when you have an action verb talking about general things that you do or you did in your day, in your life. So if I say I eat lunch, it's something that I generally do every day in my life. It's a routine. I don't need an auxiliary verb here because it's implied, and my action verb is the verb eat. So this verb here, it's an action verb and it's eat, right? So I eat lunch every day. Sometimes someone may argue differently, like I don't see you eating lunch every day, but you want to emphasize, yes, I do eat lunch every day. Here you say I do eat lunch every day because you're emphasizing the fact that you eat lunch every day. Now, if I want to ask you if you eat lunch every day, I am going to start my question with my auxiliary verb do. And I am going to use do because it goes with the pronoun I. So you have I do, he, she, it, does, you do, we do, and they do. So I eat do, so do I eat lunch every day? The person can answer yes, I do, or no, I don't. Those are the two ways of answering. So you're going to have do and does when you have an auxiliary verb. Pay attention to the pronoun you have because it has to match, it has to go with that right pronoun. So Shayla is a she and she does. So when I make the question, I'm going to use the auxiliary verb does. Shayla drives home. Here I'm talking about something that she usually does. It's a routine, something general, regular to her. When I'm talking in the present, I cannot forget the S at the end of my verb. And when you add does to the question, you don't need the S because it has already the S. So does Shayla drive home? But I have to make it a question. Use your intonation. Does Shayla drive home? The kids like to play. Okay, very general idea, general phrase, something that in general they like doing. Here I can say the kids do like to play if I want to emphasize that information, but it's implied here and I don't have to say it if I don't want to emphasize that. To make a question, I need again a auxiliary verb, and in this case I'm going to use do because the verb like, it's an action verb. So verb here is like. Do the kids like to play? Also because I have kids plural and then it means they, that's why I'm gonna use do because they do, so do the kids like to play? If it does sound a little bit confusing, just let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna try to make a better class, more visual, so you can understand fully. And then you have the modal verb, can. So it's an auxiliary verb, but it's called a modal verb. Every time you have a modal verb, your sentence is gonna behave differently. You can say, I can cook, meaning you have the ability of cooking. You can make a question, can you cook? So here you're gonna swap again your modal verb with your subject. So, can you cook? Talking about possibility, and every time you have a modal verb such as can, could, would, should, you're going to start your question with those modal verbs. So I can say Shayla can sing. Can, it's an action verb, but it's also a modal verb. Because of that, I'm going to start my sentence with can. So even though can is an action verb, it's also a modal verb, and the modal verb title, it's heavier, it weighs more, it's more important. So I'm gonna start my sentence with that. Can Shayla sing? Can Shayla sing? Can Shayla sing? But look at the difference. Shayla sings is something that she does. I'm not saying that she has the ability, the possibility, but it's something that she does. Because sing, it's my main verb, my action verb, and regular verb, I'm gonna use do or does. In this case, does, because Shayla is a she, and so does Shayla sing? Does Shayla sing? Does Shayla sing? But in spoken English, not always we are going to swap the pronoun with the subject. In spoken English, you gotta relax a little bit more. You don't have to follow the grammar rules strictly. So I can say I can cook, or can you cook? Can you cook? Or you can cook. You can cook. You can cook. Because I'm using my intonation, sometimes it's okay not to swap those two. So that's why your intonation is very important. Instead of just worrying about swapping the pronoun with the auxiliary verb, just use your intonation. Shayla can sing. Shayla can sing? Shayla can sing? Sometimes I am confirming an information. Shayla can sing? You are okay. You're okay. So I see my husband, that's a very common one of saying just with your intonation other than swapping the pronoun with the subject. So instead of saying, are you okay? You oftentimes in spoken English would say, you're okay? You're okay? You're okay? Everything's okay? Everything's okay? So that's why your intonation is very important, and that's why I started today's lesson with intonation. And that's it, guys, for today's lesson. What did you think about today's lesson? Did you like it? And if you did, don't forget to thumbs up this video. Let me know down in the comments if you learned something new today, if I was able to explain fully and help you better understand how to make questions and how important it is your intonation. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber, to check the description box for more information on my social media and also my podcast. And if you have any video suggestions, if you have anything to say, just leave in the comments down below. I love to hear more about you and to get to talk to you a little bit more. That's it from me today. I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to keep studying English because it can be very fun, and I'm sure that you're doing an awesome job. We're all in this together, like High School Musical once said. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.